Hello beautiful people, it's Luffy Star and today I wanted to talk about a theory I thought of recently. And it is about Luffy's new form, or I should say new Gear 4th variation. Now before I begin, a disclaimer that this is just my little theory, opinion and speculation. So if you got offended by my take, then I do deeply apologize. But if you do enjoy this video, then please do subscribe to my channel as it keeps me motivated to make new videos every time from your support. Also, I will be taking the manga into full consideration, so if you do not want to get spoiled, then please do click away. Finally, let's begin. We all know that Luffy has 3 variations of Gear 4th: Bound Man, Snake Man and Tank Man. So in my personal opinion, I think Luffy is going to have a new form, or he's going to have a new trump card to defeat the monster Kaido. Now I will state the first reason why Luffy will be having a new form to go up and fight against Kaido and why it makes sense. As we all know that the main objective of Luffy in battles is to overcome his enemy in any possible way. If one thing doesn't work, he bounds to go with his another last resort. For instance, against Doflamingo, as both Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd was not working, he used Gear 4th Bound Man to overwhelm and defeat Doflamingo. And lastly, to finish him off for good, he used his ultimate attack, King Kong Gun. The 2 other instances after time skip is against Cracker and Katakuri. Because Bound Man didn't work against Cracker, he used Tank Man to defeat him. And because the same didn't work against Katakuri, he used Snake Man to overcome and win that fight. So Luffy has always been using these newly formulated battle strategies and variations to win. Like in all of his major battles, like even against Rob Lucci, he used Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd to win. Nightmare Luffy against Gecko Moria. And following this theme finally brings us to Kaido vs Luffy. As we all saw that Bound Man was utterly useless against Kaido, and it would be same for any of his other forms. So he needs a solid new form to fight and stand a good ground against the Yonko Kaido. And fortunately, it seems this might be the case for real, as Luffy inside Udon unlocked new levels of advanced Haki. To be precise, the level 4 armament, or Ryo, the name given in Wano for advanced armament, which has the ability to break anything inside out. And as we saw in his training, that he has some control over it for now, where he was shown breaking the tree from inside out. Another fascinating aspect about the training was him incorporating this new Haki on top of King Kong Gun. Plus, he also as shown is proficient at using Future Sight to a certain level. Not on Katakuri's level I think, but he can use Future Sight properly. So all these nuances point towards his new Gear 4th form in my opinion. And because of the 1 week quick training, he must have figured out something new that will be perfectly working against Kaido. Now I will say that I don't 100% think he already has it, because the possibility of him having a new form might highly come towards the heat of the battle against Kaido, where he is absolutely dominated and cornered out, and that might be a perfect moment for him to unleash his new form with the improvement of his Ryo. Anyways, let me now address what exact form it is going to be in my opinion, and I will explain why I think that very form might be his next Gear 4th variation. So the one exact form I'm referring about is Tiger Man. Yeah, you heard it right. The reasonings are actually very simple. From my little research on this topic, I got one information, and that is about the relation between dragon and tiger. So I will be iterating it as follows. Tiger vs Dragon represents the balance of power. Both are Buddhist symbols, which refers to 2 spirits so wildly different and yet at the same time similar mortal enemies, intricately linked up by destiny. It represents both hard and soft style of power. The hard style represents Tiger as it attacks, knocking down its opponent. The soft style represents Dragon, who attacks with more patience and wisdom. Now, did you get some interesting things from here? Because I did. First thing is them being mortal enemies linked by destiny. Just like Luffy and Kaido, they are destined to fight each other in this war. Second, the style of fighting. Luffy's main way of fighting is to knock down his opponent with absolute power. But Kaido's one is different. He works with patience, as he took every attack from Luffy head on and at last struck him down with one attack. So I see a great similarities between these two, especially Tiger Man vs Dragon Kaido. Now before we delve into Tiger Man theory, let's first analyze through Luffy's current Gear 4th variations. First, Bound Man. Boundman is pretty much a balance of everything like strength, speed, defense, just like an all-rounder. This factor was highlighted in the fight against Doflamingo as he demonstrated all these three big aspects: strength, speed, and defense. But I think Boundman, even though is a balance between all the three factors, I would say it is more proficient in terms of strength and power. For instances, the punches he throws in Boundman are really powerful as Doffy is completely stunned. Cracker's biscuits are easily broken. Katakuri with one hit is sent flying, and Big Mom was using Haki to block his Kong gun. So I can comfortably say that Boundman is more so strength based. Second, let's talk about Tankman. The two big advantages in this form is strength and defense. But again, similar like in the case of Boundman, I would say Luffy is more proficient in defense in this form. Even the name itself implies so. Tankman, built like a tank. As we saw in Boundman, Cracker was able to cut Luffy's arm. But in his Tankman, Cracker was left helpless as he couldn't penetrate through Luffy's Haki and skin. So Tankman is based more so on defense. Lastly, Snake Man. And I don't have to say much here. We all know that Snake Man is based on tremendous speed power and its attacking prowess is weaker than Boundman. Because as we saw in Snake Man, when Luffy clashed his fist with Katakuri, he was hurt. But that was not the same case with Boundman. Don't get me wrong here because Snake Man also has tremendous level of strength, but it is definitely a speed-based gear fourth variation. So as for conclusion, we can say that the three variations of gear fourth is mainly based on absolute strength, which is Boundman, absolute speed, which is Snake Man, and absolute defense, which is Tankman. Now the reason I analyzed through the variations is for Tiger Man, because in my opinion, Tiger Man will possess every three aspects within it, with the upgraded Haki to support it: absolute strength, absolute defense, and absolute speed. And there's an explanation for this. First, let's go through his size in Tiger Man. In my opinion, Tiger Man will be smaller than Boundman, but bigger than Snake Man. Pretty much a balanced out version. So what's the advantage? Let's start with absolute strength. As I said, it's going to be bigger than Snake Man, so it will have a greater strength to carry just like Boundman. But that's not what will make it special, because it will actually be the level 4 armament, or Ryo, to make it very special. Basically, when Luffy incorporates Ryo in this form, he will have a much greater destructive and damaging power than Boundman. The strikes will be heavier and deadly, which can even give a Yonko a tough time. So that will cover the absolute strength part. Next one is absolute defense. And for this, there are two aspects to attribute for it. First, the main defense line, the barrier Haki, or level 3 armament. The same that Rayleigh and the three admirals used. And as we saw, it is really proficient for defense purposes. Next one will be Luffy's future sight, and as we know, it plays a very vital role in defense. For instance, the reason Katakuri wasn't getting hit was because of future sight, so it is really important key factor for you to receive lesser damages. Therefore, in my opinion, it makes up for an absolute defense. At last, it's about speed, and similar formula is applied like in terms of strength. That is related to the body proportion, as it is going to be smaller than Boundman. It will be much faster to move around just like Snake Man. So with all these three big factors mixed in one form, Luffy should be comfortably able to compete and fight with a Yonko, especially against strength-based monsters like Kaido and Big Mom, because to fight these two Yonkos, you need absolute strength with a greater destructive capability, future sight to dodge and reduce damage, barrier Haki for protecting yourself, and great speed to keep up with them constantly. Now his possible attack names might be also interesting. And a note here, this is just going to be my speculation or assumption. So if it sounds funny, then I apologize. And if you have some cool attack names for Tiger Man Luffy, then do comment down. I will really appreciate it. So some of the name attacks I came up with are: first one is Tora Bazooka, second one is Tiger Organ, third one is Clawing, fourth one is Roaring Gun, fifth one is Hunting Tiger, similar to Culverin and Python where he stretches his arms, Sabertooth, and lastly King Panthera, his ultimate move, just like King Kong Gun and King Cobra. Now at last, the main question stands: how strong will be Luffy in Tiger Man? Like just in Tiger Man alone. if Luffy is going to have access to everything I just said, then he would be Admiral level. But overall, I would say he will be close to Admiral level because with all these new training, experience and fighting against Yonkos, he should be close to Admiral level by the end of Wano. So if he fights an Admiral after Wano, I would say it would be a good fight. But he will still be struggling, and that's when Tiger Man comes into play to level up and stand equal footing with an Admiral. In this way, I would say he will be pushing any of the current 3 Admirals to a high def fight after Wano. But again, because he's going to have a time limit with Tiger Man, he will ultimately lose against any of the 3 Admirals. Yeah, I think he will definitely have a time limit, maybe even shorter than a Bound Man, because in this form he would be using excessively huge amount of Haki than he does regularly in Bound Man. So yeah, this form being Admiral level, he should be able to give a good fight to Kaido also, to the point he is actually surprised and is taking damage. It would also make sense if Luffy delivers the final blow on Kaido in this form, so that the tiger wins over the dragon, making it a draw because Kaido defeated Luffy in their first confrontation. So yeah, that was the video guys. As seen in chapter 980, it seems Luffy and Zoro want to straightly go towards where Kaido is. So I can't really wait for Luffy and all the other big members of the alliance to have great battles. Now I forgot to address this before, but as we saw, Luffy was using his Rio with Bound Man also. But as seen, he was having a hard time, so he might still not be good at using it. Therefore, again, there's a huge possibility that he might have made a new variation to cope with his new training, and that will be Tiger Man in my opinion. And we know Luffy always does those fitting adjustments to face the opponent in front of him, like him discovering Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd and having variations of Gear 4th suited with different key factors to go with it. So I highly believe Luffy will first use his regular Bound Man, which will not work, and eventually for the finale he will be revealing his new and strongest Gear 4th form, or I should say his trump card to take down Kaido. And seeing this improvement from Luffy, Kaido will definitely be startled and excited at the same time, leading to an epic showdown in sight. Lastly, if you enjoy my contents, please do subscribe and hit that like button. It really means a lot to me and keeps me motivated to make new contents every time. Also, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed.